The Best Iowa Cleaning Podcast helps business leaders by educating, entertaining, and being real in sharing our successes and failures in life and in business. Join us as we share stories about dreaming, cleaning, and serving wholeheartedly. Here is your hosts, Brandon and Ryan.
Hey, and welcome back, everybody. This is the Cayden, Dawson, and Brandon the Janitor Show. We're so excited to see you. And this is actually take number 2 for us, isn't it, Dawson?
Yep.
Oh, man. We had a great video filmed, a lot of value for you, but we lost it. There was no volume. That was my bad, setting it all up. Who's running the show anyways? All right, but we promised to make version 2 even better than version 1. So come along with us. My 2 prodigal sons have returned home from Mexico, and they attended a missions trip with the youth group. Antioch Christian Church is where we attend as a family, and they're a part of the youth group there. And this is Mexico trip number 2, version 2.
Yep.
Oh, they went last year about the same time, and they went again. But I had to have them on right away when they came back because there's a lot of things that happened, some different things. And I think from you, Cayden, last time, I've only had Dawson on the show, so this is good to have you on here. And
yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, where's my thank you for having you on?
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Always have to remind Mr. Dawson over here. Yep, Dawson the janitor.
Yep.
Cayden the toilet scrubber.
Thank you very much.
Yep, for ceremonial fist bump. All right, let's dive into it. So, I have a couple of questions for the boys, and we just really want to get to know what they did, what they were about, some of the ways that they helped out. And join us. Just sit back, relax. It's going to be a longer video, but this will be very good to hear from them about what's happening in the church that we partner up with in Mexico. Mm-hmm. All right. So, Cayden, Dawson, I'm going to ask the same question. We'll just go back and forth. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So just like last time, we're going to do this again. As a group, what was your purpose of going to Mexico?
We were basically just to be able to work together, and be able to team bond, and be able to just become a good group. So then Hannah can take the same group next year. And no, it was just great to be able to have the group there with us, and to be able to be around them. And it was great. It was a great experience.
Okay, all right. And you threw out Hannah. You explain who Hannah is?
Hannah Seitz, she's one of the youth pastors at our church. She took us down there, and she was one of our leaders down there to be able to make sure that we were safe. She had all our information and extra copies of our passports just in case we lost, stuff like that. So
I'm sure that happens a lot.
Yeah, it sure does. Yeah.
All right, so Dawson, what do you think? As a group, what was your purpose for going?
To help the Mexican people long term so they can get better and be more self-sufficient without other people's help. And also to spread the gospel and just to, team bond like Cayden said. And I feel like we definitely did a good job on doing that this trip.
Okay, and that was my next question. So obviously, you hope that what you're doing makes a difference. And so obviously you have a purpose or a mission for going, and then once you get there, did you feel like the work that you did mattered? Did you see the Lord working in the people? Go ahead.
Yeah, because you could just see it on their faces, the smile and just the happiness on their face. They really appreciated it, and they didn't hesitate to let us know that. They're all really nice and told us all thank you, and you could tell they really needed it because they were really struggling. So
okay, and before I ask the same question, what are some of the things that you did where helping out in that way gave them a meaningful response?
So we went to this place called Los Pepes, and they don't have hardly anything there. It's
so where is that in association with Mexico City?
That's basic. I don't know where exactly that's in.
It's like 2 minutes out. It's not that far.
So it's kind of like connected. It's a suburb, just
it's a suburb, but
very
it's
poor area.
It's the most dangerous and the most poor area in Mexico City. We went there, cleaned the streets. We set up tables and gave out a bunch of clothes, and you could just tell by them looking at us doing that it put a big smile on their face after we were able to bless them with the things that we had that they didn't have, and it also made them realize that that we were doing it in the help and favor of God. So, and they would even ask questions to Misael in Spanish. Why are you doing this? Why would you give us this stuff when we aren't even looked at by anybody? And he would just tell them, Matt, we're just going to teach you about Jesus, and if he was here right now, this is exactly where he'd be all the time. He'd be here for you guys, and he'd be here to give you peace and joy.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, and so to tie it together, when you handed that stuff out and you helped the people, what type of response did you get? You said they were happy, joyful. They were maybe overwhelmed.
Yes, they're very overwhelmed and very happy and joyful. They were like blown out of their minds.
Okay, awesome. And I know last year you helped some of the people in the community build gardens.
Yes.
And it was a lot of work, but there was a system and a process that they put together to get that done. Did you do any gardens this time?
Nope, we didn't do any gardenings. We actually did tree planting, which there's a very specific way they like to do it in Mexico. But Misael, the guy that had us at the church this week, he had a very different and specific way of planting these trees. And you can just tell after we planted the trees, the very next day you could see little growth, and the old leaves were starting to die out and new leaves were growing. So it really, he obviously knows a lot about what he's doing. He's very faithful and he's a very wise person, and that's a gift from God that he has. And he's very blessed, and he was great to have on the trip, and he's a very knowledgeable person to take from.
Okay, and explain who Misael is.
Misael is the pastor for La Zona, which is the church we served during our trip, and he's just a very, very nice person, and he's very giving, and he's incredible.
Yes, he and his wife, I've met them both, and they're pretty incredible.
Yeah,
he's a funny guy, but he's very passionate, and he loves the Mexican people.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure. Mm-hmm. So you had told me, both of you actually, the different trees that you planted. So what type of trees were they?
There was pretty much every type of fruit. It was apple, guava, mango, banana, grapefruit, just every kind of tree you can think about. And the reason they planted these trees is because of the lack of food and the lack of fruit they have in Mexico. They have a lot of fruit, but just not affordable for people to buy. So what Misael is going to do is give it away for free since they grow their own. And sometimes he says people come in and ask for food, and now he has something to give them other than, sandwiches and stuff. Now he can actually start a giving program and stuff like that, and now he has fruit to do it with. So
that's really cool, because I used to, a long time ago, I worked at Fairway in the produce department, and during the off seasons where you couldn't get it from the U.S., all the fruit came from Mexico. So that means that any fruit they produce, probably most of it comes to the U.S. to be sold. That is crazy. So, Cayden, you had said a lot of interesting things about, let me transition here. So, the pastor in Mexico, Misael, his son graduated from high school, and one thing I thought was really cool, we had been getting updates, Amber and I, throughout the process of the trip, and they had said that Benji, his son, invited both boys to go to the graduation at the high school, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. And then to the party afterwards.
Yeah.
But that was pretty crazy. Nobody else went. It was you two and a leader that took you there. But that was off. That was outside of the itinerary for the trip, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
So tell me about that.
So it was pretty crazy. I was surprised that he was gonna do something like that. I would have never thought about that. I guess last year we really bonded with him well, and we were really good friends with him, and I think he just really, really enjoyed being around us and being able to hang out with us these past 2 years. So he's like, yeah, I'm gonna invite him to my graduation party. This is gonna be great to have him here, and I'm glad I was able to see them this week. So.
And he must have been pretty cool too for you guys to want to hang out with him.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. All right. Well, thanks for sharing that. And so obviously you made an impact. You were so well. Transition back to Cayden again. So
Okay.
talk about that really poor city within Mexico City.
So
What are some of the things some of the takeaways that you saw there?
So it was it's called Los Pepes. It's a city. It's a neighborhood in Mexico City. It's directly in the middle, and it's just this place where people live and they literally build things out of trash. They don't have any money. They're not supported by the government in any way. So they basically the dump trucks, they take trash to Los Pepes and they grab it, they eat it, they live in it, and they have these really rundown buildings just made of straight concrete. They don't have any like blankets or anything in them. They walk in and that's where they live. And that's where even people that have just a little bit of pesos, but the people that live like in these old rotten pieces of wood, they live in that pretty much, and they use tarps as to keep the rain out, but they can't keep all that disgusting rain out. And they just had a lot of disgusting stray dogs out there that were covered in greasy wet water, and it was a terrible environment and a not a safe place to live for anybody that should be there.
So another question I have is about when you came back from or while you were at in Mexico City. You probably saw a lot of things that we didn't have here. And does that make you appreciate what we have here more?
Yeah, it definitely does. Because when we came back, you'll see, obviously we have air conditioning and all this great stuff that the government gives us and they're able to support us throughout when we need something or whatever. But it's just like, when I came back, it's like, man, we have too much. We should be giving our stuff to that city and that neighborhood in Mexico City, because it's unbelievable the amount of things that we have and they don't. So I came back and I kind of decided, no, I don't want to hear any excuses from anybody, because you can even live paycheck to paycheck. I mean, it's still not good, but you
Probably
definitely are way more blessed than the people there. At least you're not living the way they are. So I decided, no excuses. It's just you're really blessed the way you are here.
Oh yeah, it changes your perspective for sure. And yeah, Amber and I, that's our mom, his mom. When we were in high school, we went to Venezuela on a missions trip, similar, except during that time Venezuela was they were doing pretty good, but still, it's not as developed, it's not as nice as it is here.
Right.
So definitely, like you're saying, no air conditioning and yeah, people wearing the same clothes every day, and yeah, just not the broad selection that we have. So yeah. So how about you, Dawson? Any takeaways from what you saw there to differences here, and then what do you most appreciate here that you didn't have there?
Yeah, it was very different from here for sure, because it was just a lot of people crammed in one small space, and it's just a lot of like pollution, a lot of trash around the roads, a lot of just like exhaust always just filling your nose up, and just a lot of terrible things that go through your body, a lot of toxins. And it's just not a good place to live for sure. But yeah, here we have it a lot better. Just everything is so much like nicer here. Not saying that like Mexico wasn't like good or like beautiful. It was, but it was just not a good environment for people to live in. And something that I'm grateful just to have here is probably just clean houses, clean roads, just clean stuff, because they didn't have that there in Mexico. Everything was just not clean at all. So
Yeah, it really puts it into perspective, but you can see how going there not only changes your mindset on the way that we live, and that other places need help and need the love of Jesus is really what they need, but it also makes you want to be a part of some continued mission there. So are both of you planning on going back? I mean, what's some things that you feel like changed spiritually for you?
Definitely what changed for me was he had these little school preaching times where he would take verses out of the Bible and he would make them very, he would really define them, and he'd come up with his own perspective. And man, it just hit me hard spiritually because I've never thought of it like that before, and it was really crazy the way he was teaching and the way the kids were even spiritually with the Lord. It was really crazy to see that.
Yeah. Maybe it's because we have so much here, there's so much selfish behavior where
Right.
they can just,
They have a different perspective,
Right,
and
right.
it's honestly it's better for us Americans to hear it because they have the worst environment, so they have a better perspective, and they're looking for more hope there in Mexico.
so tell us about the hat, just to,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we walked through this 1980s presidential place in Mexico. It's kind of by the main street of Mexico City, but they had this little place down the street where they had all these street vendors and stuff. But I found this hat, and I'm like, man, I could really use it because it's really warm out, and I don't want my face to get sunburned. So I bought it, and once you walk through Mexico, most people wear these hats because they protect themselves from the sun because it gets very humid, very warm, and that's pretty much the main reason why they wear it. The sun's always up on your face, beating down on you, so
okay.
that's why.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, very cool. How about you? Did you pick up anything from Mexico?
Yeah, like he said, the sermons he did were just super good. They're just nothing like I've ever heard before. Just very eye-opening and different. I've never heard it preached in that way before. It was a different but very awakening and very convicting way of preaching that really just shook me, and it was really good. One thing I picked up was just how much we as a group, like the group we went down with, could connect with each other. Because from the beginning of the week, I hardly knew that many people except for the boys on the trip. But then when I really got to know the people on the trip, it was just, they're super nice and everyone just got along really well. And it was just a really good experience. Very good.
Cool. All right. One thing I forgot to mention is you guys did some English teaching. Mm-hmm. How'd that go?
It went good. We played games like spelling bee. We played karaoke. We did some karaoke just to help them out with English and stuff. And they seemed to be learning really well. Before we even started teaching them, they already knew whole sentences of English. And it was just really cool to see at such a young age them already knowing that much about English and just learning a lot, because they seem very eager to be able to communicate with us.
Oh, I'm sure they are. Mm-hmm. Yep. Cool. Mm-hmm. So when you talk to some of the kids, what type of things were familiar? Did they talk about their favorite musicians and sports stars and stuff like that?
Yeah, some of them were wearing a Michael Jordan Bulls jersey and stuff.
That's what I thought.
So
yeah,
Messi.
Messi.
They talked a lot about their sports stuff like soccer and basketball and all that stuff. They also they're really just talking about what they liked, and most of it was from the United States, but some of it was from most of it was soccer, because in Mexico soccer is the most popular sport. So I wasn't surprised at all.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And maybe baseball too. A little bit of baseball, basketball. Not really?
No, not really.
Okay.
Not really baseball.
All right. And you guys got to play some soccer too,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Lots of it.
Yeah. A lot of soccer.
All right, awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who was the best out of your whole group?
Benji.
Benji?
Yeah, Benji was
definitely
the best
Benji.
out of everyone,
Yeah.
but in our group it was Cayden Osgood because he's played before a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, cool. Yep. How did Evan do, Pastor Evan?
Oh, he did good too. Yeah, he was really good. He was probably second best. So
All right. Very good.
maybe
cool.
better. So.
Well, any words of wisdom to send us out into the world?
Just to be grateful for what you have, and just to, if you really want to experience something that's bad, go to Mexico or just go to another country that doesn't have what we have.
Maybe not experience what's bad, but to realize what good.
Yeah, but people just
How good
think
we
they
have
have good, people complain a lot here, and there's nothing to complain about because people have it a lot worse everywhere else. So,
Yep. What about you? Anything to send the people out on their way?
Yeah, just don't make excuses about what you have and don't have. You don't even have to like go down to the country. You can simply just watch shows on TV of other countries because they have them on all the time. Or the Los Pepes, the place I was talking about, look it up and just look at pictures and realize, man, I have it so good here, and I don't really have to make up excuses, even if I'm living paycheck to paycheck, because I live in the United States, and I can work, and I can make things happen.
Very good. All right. So you were talking, let's just do a couple prayer requests.
Yeah. So Misael, the pastor that Dawson was talking about in La Zona, it's this place right here on my sweatshirt that we got. He wants prayer requests for rest with his time, because he hasn't had time with his family or his kids. He almost didn't make it to Benji's graduation party. That's how busy he was. He's always up till 3, 4 in the morning working on his Sunday scripts for pastoring, and he's always doing interviews with other people to increase his business. And he's just really looking for that rest part of his time, and I just that's something I want to put out there, because he is really looking for that time with his family, and I know that he's been looking for that for a few years, and he hasn't got it yet. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
And yeah.
Go ahead. One more.
Yeah. And then the place called Los Pepes. I just also want you to pray for them too, because they still, even though we got them the clothes and the trees will be out there eventually, they still need lots of prayer, because there are violent people that hang around there. People have been shot there before, and it's a very violent, not great place at all. And they live in trash and all that stuff. So I just pray for an increase in it being clean and just a safer place to live every single day. Please.
Okay. All right. How about you, Dawson?
Yeah, I also pray for Misael's rest, because while we were on the trip, he explained to us that he has no rest. And he said he's had no rest since he was 16 years old. He's had no time with his family and hasn't really got to know his kids very well. And it's it's just not working well for him. So I'm just really pray for, rest for him, because he definitely deserves it. He's such a nice, giving guy, and very godly, God-honoring too. He's just very nice. And I also, just to give to La Zona, you don't have to necessarily give money, but you can pray for them too, with their new addition they're putting on to La Zona. And it's just, he's trying to get money for it section by section, so it'd be nice if you could give to that cause.
Yeah, it puts it into perspective. I tend to throw myself into the work a lot, because I just want it to succeed and want us to be great and be better, and to give wholeheartedly to lots of people. But it's interesting how, even as much as we do here, I have a relationship with my boys, with my other son and 2 daughters, and my wife, and there's a fairly good amount of balance. But it's crazy, just thinking about other countries. The husband will literally leave and work, and then the family just uses what little he gets to keep the household running, and that's normal for other countries. So yeah, we really don't realize how blessed we are to be here and have what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Although it would be nice to have a jet.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just joking. All right. Well, hey, if you've been tuning along to this point in the video, we really appreciate you. Thank you for just joining us every week as we put these podcasts on. I do want to just relate a little bit of what happened in Mexico and the missions trip in the church with what we do at Night Shift and what we're about. We're not all about making money and expanding and getting corporate. We're really a family-friendly business. I got my 2 boys here. They both work for me. And my wife does payroll and billing, and my brother-in-law and sister have been a huge part of helping us get established here in Eastern Iowa. And I know that my other kids will be a part of the business as well. And also Ryan and Angela and all the rest of our team. and how much they do. We all truly care and give wholeheartedly. And if there's any takeaway in today's episode, it's that I think we can all do something to give to people that are less fortunate, that don't have enough food, clothing, blankets for the homeless. There's something. And so if I could issue any challenge for not only my team and myself, but others that are listening in, it would be just go through your clothes, go through the kids' toys, go through the pantry, anything that hasn't been used in 2-3 weeks that's still there, box that up and bring it to a local food bank, shelter. There's so many opportunities to give. We ran into a homeless guy when we went on vacation just the last couple of weeks in St. Louis, and he was just looking for water. It was 91 degrees. We were going to the Arch, and he was right there. And regardless of if it's, if he was really in need or if it was a scam, I believe that whenever you give something to anyone that's in need, that you're directly giving that to the Lord. And whether you believe it or not, I think there's something very powerful when you give to someone that's in need. All right. Well, thank you again for tuning in. Links below for La Zona, the church in Mexico, the prayer requests that Cayden and Dawson listed, and also I will list Antioch Christian Church if anyone wants to give or just get in touch with Pastor Hannah or Pastor Evan within the youth group if they want to be a part of this. I think they pretty much open it up to any student that wants to go. They're doing this again next year. It's going to be a continued thing. And thank the Lord, the church is really growing in Mexico City, and there's a reason why Antioch supports that. And I believe in what they're doing too. So thank you all for tuning in. I hope you have a blessed day.
Wow, great job! If you made it this far, we hope you've gained some knowledge, had some fun, and kept it real. If you love Best Iowa Cleaning Podcast, drop us a 5-star review on our Google business page and on Facebook with the links on your screen. See you next week on the Best Iowa Cleaning Podcast.